It's 11 p.m. You've been scrolling for 2 hours. You're not enjoying it, not really, but you're comfortable, safe. The algorithm knows what you like. Your feed is optimized. Your temperature is regulated. Your food was delivered. Your entertainment is infinite. Nothing hurts. Nothing challenges. Nothing demands anything of you. This is the life billions of humans have spent millennia striving toward. Safety, comfort, the elimination of suffering. And according to a German philosopher who died over a century ago, this is humanity's greatest tragedy. In 1883, Friedrich Nietzsche began writing a book called Thus Spoke Zarathustra. In it, a prophet descends from the mountains after 10 years of solitude with a warning for humanity. But the people don't want to hear about struggle or challenge or becoming something greater. They want something else entirely. They want comfort. And so Zarathustra tells them about their future, a future that should horrify them, but instead they celebrate it. He calls it the last man. Let me read you Nietzsche's description. These are his words from 140 years ago. Behold, I show you the last man. What is love? What is creation? What is longing? What is a star? Thus asks the last man, and blinks. The earth has become small, and on it hops the last man, who makes everything small. The last man is not a person, it's a prophecy, a vision of humanity's final form, not destroyed by war, not extinct from catastrophe, but something worse, completely, utterly, comfortably meaningless. Nietzsche continues, one has one's little pleasure for the day and one's little pleasure for the night, but one has a regard for health. We have invented happiness, say the last men, and they blink. They blink. That single image, the blink, contains everything. It's not the blink of understanding or wonder or even confusion, it's the blink of bovine contentment, the blink of a creature that has stopped asking questions because all needs are met. The last man has no great joys because he has no great sorrows, no ecstatic highs because he's eliminated all painful lows, no meaning because meaning requires sacrifice, and the last man has sacrificed nothing. He has optimized his life for one thing, comfort. And in doing so, he has optimized himself out of existence. But to understand why Nietzsche saw this as tragedy rather than triumph, we need to go deeper. We need to understand what came before the last man, and how we arrived at this comfortable end. Nietzsche believed humans were fundamentally defined by what he called the will to power. This is one of his most misunderstood concepts. It's not about dominating others or accumulating wealth or political control. It's about something far more profound, the drive to overcome yourself, to grow, to become something greater than you are. Life for Nietzsche was fundamentally about self-overcoming, about pushing past your limits, about creating your own values rather than accepting the values handed to you by society, religion, or tradition. It was about choosing the hard path, not in spite of its difficulty, but because that difficulty is what makes you more. Think of a sculptor working on stone. Every strike of the chisel is an act of power, not over the stone, but through the stone, transforming raw material into form. That's what Nietzsche meant. Human life is the raw material. You are both the sculptor and the stone. The will to power is the force that drives you to chip away at yourself, to reveal something greater within. But there's another morality, another way of organizing human life. Nietzsche called it slave morality, and understanding it is crucial to understanding the last man. Slave morality emerged, Nietzsche argued, from those who lacked power and strength. Unable to create their own values through action, they inverted the values of the powerful. Strength became brutish, ambition became greed, pride became sin, and suffering became the highest virtue, because it was all they had. Slave morality says, suffering is bad, risk is dangerous, struggle is to be avoided at all costs, safety is the highest good, comfort is the goal. The purpose of life is to minimize pain and maximize pleasure, to be secure, to never have to face the abyss of uncertainty or the terror of genuine risk. And slowly, over centuries, this morality won. It won through Christianity, which Nietzsche saw as the ultimate expression of slave morality. The meek shall inherit the earth, the last shall be first, blessed are those who suffer. It won through democratic movements that elevated equality over excellence. It won through economic systems that promised security and comfort to the masses. And it won through technological progress that made that promise achievable. We built entire civilizations around this morality. We created welfare states to eliminate poverty, medical systems to eliminate disease, entertainment industries to eliminate boredom, technologies to eliminate inconvenience, discomfort, effort itself. We called it progress, and in many ways it was. Infant mortality plummeted, lifespans extended, millions were lifted from grinding poverty into material comfort. The amount of unnecessary suffering in the world decreased dramatically. But something else decreased too, something Nietzsche valued more than comfort or safety or even happiness itself: the capacity for greatness, the drive to overcome, the willingness to risk everything for the sake of becoming something more. Because here's what Nietzsche understood: you cannot eliminate suffering without also eliminating growth. You cannot remove all risk without removing all possibility of genuine achievement. You cannot make life completely safe without making it completely meaningless. The last man is the inevitable endpoint of slave morality's total victory. He is what humans become when every system, every structure, every technology is oriented toward one single goal: the elimination of discomfort. And here's the truly insidious part, the part that makes Nietzsche's prophecy so uncomfortable. The last man life is genuinely appealing. It's not forced on anyone. There's no tyrant demanding you live this way. You choose it, enthusiastically, because it feels good. Why would you risk failure when you could stay safe? Why would you endure the pain of growth when you could remain comfortable? Why would you face the anxiety of uncertainty when you could have the peace of predictable routine? Why would you climb the mountain when the valley is so pleasant? Every choice the last man makes is reasonable. Every individual decision makes perfect sense. Stay in tonight rather than face the awkwardness of social interaction. Order delivery rather than cook. Watch another episode rather than work on that difficult project. Scroll through your feed rather than sit with your thoughts. Choose the path of least resistance, again and again and again. And the modern world makes these choices easier than ever. Every system is optimized for your comfort. Your social media feed shows you only what you want to see, carefully curated to avoid anything that might disturb or challenge you. Your streaming service recommends more of what you've already watched, ensuring you never have to risk disappointment. Your GPS finds the fastest route, eliminating the possibility of getting lost, and with it, the possibility of discovery. Your thermostat adjusts automatically, so you never feel too hot or too cold. Your job, if you're lucky, is safe and predictable, with clear paths for advancement and minimal genuine risk. We have built a civilization-scale comfort machine, and it's working exactly as designed. Nietzsche saw this coming. In Zarathustra, he writes, "No shepherd and one herd. Everybody wants the same. Everybody is the same. Whoever feels different goes voluntarily into a madhouse." The last man is not just comfortable, he's conformist. Not because he's forced to be, but because difference itself is uncomfortable. Standing out requires effort. Having unusual opinions invites conflict. Pursuing an unconventional path means leaving the safety of the herd. So the last man doesn't stand out. He doesn't have unusual opinions. He doesn't pursue unconventional paths. He has his little pleasures, his morning coffee ritual, his evening entertainment, his weekend hobbies that demand nothing and build toward nothing. He has his health, carefully monitored through apps and devices. He has his social connections, maintained through likes and comments that require no genuine vulnerability. He has his identity, assembled from approved options like selecting a character in a video game. And he calls this happiness. We have invented happiness, say the last men. And they blink. So what's wrong with this? If everyone is comfortable, safe, content, isn't that what we wanted? Isn't that the goal of civilization itself? To reduce suffering, to increase well-being, to make life easier for as many people as possible. Nietzsche would say no, this is not utopia. This is its opposite. Because humans are not meant for contentment. We are not built for arrival. We are built for becoming, for striving, for overcoming. And the last man has stopped becoming. He has arrived, he is finished. And a human who has stopped growing is no longer fully human. The tragedy of the last man is not that he suffers. The tragedy is that he doesn't. He doesn't suffer, so he doesn't grow. He doesn't struggle, so he doesn't overcome. He doesn't risk, so he never discovers what he could become. He has traded becoming for being. He has traded meaning for comfort. And he doesn't even realize what he's lost because he never knew it was there. Consider what it takes to do anything genuinely meaningful. To create art that matters, you must risk failure and mockery. To build something new, you must endure years of uncertainty. To develop a skill to mastery, you must push through countless hours of frustrating incompetence. To form deep relationships, you must make yourself vulnerable to rejection and loss. To pursue truth, you must be willing to have your most cherished beliefs shattered. Every meaningful thing requires sacrifice, requires risk, requires choosing temporary suffering for the sake of something greater. And the last man looks at this proposition and says, "Why? Why should I suffer when I could be comfortable? Why should I risk when I could be safe? Why should I struggle when I could simply not?" He cannot answer the question why, because he has no framework for evaluating anything beyond comfort and discomfort, pleasure and pain. He has no concept of meaning that transcends immediate feeling. He cannot understand why anyone would choose the difficult path, because he has optimized his entire existence around avoiding difficulty. Nietzsche writes, "Formerly, all the world was mad, say the most refined, and they blink." The last man looks back at history, at the artists who suffered for their vision, the explorers who risked everything for discovery, the philosophers who endured poverty and persecution for truth, the revolutionaries who died for their ideals, and he thinks, they were mad. Why didn't they just be comfortable? He cannot comprehend that perhaps they knew something he has forgotten, that perhaps they understood something about human existence that goes deeper than comfort, that perhaps there are forms of fulfillment, of meaning, of joy that are only accessible through struggle. The last man has eliminated tragedy from his life, and in doing so, he has eliminated the possibility of anything genuinely heroic, anything genuinely beautiful, anything genuinely meaningful. When Zarathustra warned the people in the marketplace about the last man, they didn't recoil in horror. They celebrated. They said, "Give us this last man, O Zarathustra. Turn us into these last men." They wanted it, just as we do. But Zarathustra had come to tell them about something else, something that was supposed to inspire them, though he quickly realized they were incapable of being inspired. He called it the Übermensch, the Overman, the person who has overcome themselves. This is not about being superior to others. It's not about domination or conquest or any form of external power. The Übermensch is someone who has overcome the need for external validation, external meaning, external values, someone who creates rather than receives, someone who chooses meaning over comfort. The Übermensch is Nietzsche's answer to the last man. Where the last man seeks comfort, the Übermensch seeks growth. Where the last man avoids suffering, the Übermensch embraces it as necessary for transformation. Where the last man accepts the values of the herd, the Übermensch creates their own values. Nietzsche loved the image of the tightrope walker. He writes, "Man is a rope, tied between beast and overman, a rope over an abyss. We are suspended between what we were and what we could become." The last man looks at that rope and says, "Too dangerous, I'll stay on solid ground." The Übermensch says, "The danger is the point, not because danger is good in itself, but because growth requires risk, because meaning requires struggle, because becoming something greater requires leaving behind who you were. And you cannot do that while remaining comfortable. The path to becoming the Übermensch is not a pleasant one. It requires what Nietzsche called saying yes to life, which doesn't mean accepting only the pleasant parts, but embracing the whole thing, the pain and the joy, the failure and the success, the tragedy and the triumph, all of it, without wishing any of it were different. It requires facing what Nietzsche called the eternal return, The idea that you would live this exact life, with all its suffering and struggle, again and again, infinitely, and instead of being horrified by this prospect, being able to say, yes, I would choose this life again, not in spite of its difficulties, but because of what those difficulties made possible. The last man, faced with the eternal return, would be horrified. To repeat this life of small pleasures and careful avoidance, forever? It would be revealed as the prison it is. But the Übermensch, having lived fully, having become what they were capable of becoming, could embrace it.
So here we are, you, right now, listening to this. Comfortable, safe, your needs met, your environment controlled, your entertainment optimized. And somewhere in the back of your mind you feel it, that restlessness, that sense that something is missing, that quiet voice asking, is this all there is? Nietzsche would say that voice is the last human part of you, resisting the last man. The question is whether you'll listen to it, because the last man life is easy. It requires nothing of you. You can stay exactly as you are, in your comfortable routines, your safe choices, your predictable existence. No one will blame you. Society will celebrate you for being reasonable, for being responsible, for being content with your little pleasures and your regard for health. The path of the Übermensch is hard. It will demand everything. It will require you to risk the comfort you've built, to face the uncertainty you've been avoiding, to choose the difficult path again and again, with no guarantee that it will lead anywhere at all. The last man promises, stay here, be comfortable, be safe. This is enough. The Übermensch demands, climb, struggle, risk, become. Nietzsche writes, I love those who do not seek behind the stars for a reason to perish and be a sacrifice, but who sacrifice themselves to the earth, that the earth may one day become the Overman's. I love him who lives for knowledge, and who wants knowledge that one day the Overman may live. The choice has always been between comfortable meaninglessness and meaningful struggle, between staying what you are and becoming what you could be, between the valley and the mountain. The last man says, we have invented happiness. The Übermensch says, happiness is for cattle. What is great in man, Nietzsche wrote, is that he is a bridge and not an end. Are you the last man, or are you willing to climb?